Look, if you're between 20 and 30 years old and you're tired of being where you are, pay close attention to what I'm about to tell you right now. Let's start by being brutally honest here, because not everyone starts from the same place. There are people watching this right now who were born into structured families, with access to decent education, with parents who could invest in their development. And there are people who started at the very bottom, without a support network, without resources, just fighting to survive from an early age. And anyone who tells you these differences don't matter is lying through their teeth. Of course they matter. Of course some people are going to have a much steeper climb than others. But you know what I discovered after years of observing both people who came from the bottom and people who came from the top? In the end, a large portion stay exactly where they started. And that's because there's a trap that catches everyone, regardless of social class. The trap of simply reproducing what already exists. The poor person's child follows the poor person's script. The middle-class child follows the middle-class script. Gets a job, pays the bills, maybe climbs a rung or two in life, but never breaks out of the script. And then the years pass, you reach your 40s, your 50s, and you realize you spent entire decades on autopilot, doing exactly what was expected, never really trying to build something different. Now, if you're in your 20s or 30s, you have something money can't buy: time. You have an entire decade ahead where each choice counts double, where each skill you develop multiplies throughout an entire lifetime of work. But this window doesn't stay open forever. And that's why I decided to show you the exact process, divided into 4 fundamental stages. First, the mindset shift that takes you off autopilot. Second, how to discover and master skills that actually generate money. Third, surviving the lonely period where most people quit. And fourth, achieving true financial freedom through intelligent reinvestment. Here the conversation is kind of about a sort of shortcut. It's about understanding the rules of the game that nobody teaches you in school and having the courage to play for real. So if you're ready to stop just surviving and start actually building something, stay with me until the end, because what comes next might be exactly the push you needed to break out of inertia. Stage 1, the mindset shift. You know, there's something I've noticed over the years watching young people trying to build wealth. Most of them are simply drifting. It's like they're in a boat without oars, letting life's current decide where they go. And look, I understand perfectly why. We live in a society that bombards us with 1,000 different options at the same time. Dropshipping, cryptocurrencies, day trading, digital marketing, programming, graphic design, video editing, or the traditional options that everyone pushes on you, like studying at a good college, getting a degree, landing a stable job at a nice company, and slowly climbing the corporate ladder. Everyone has a different opinion about what the right path is, and in the end, you're paralyzed. There's this fear of choosing wrong and wasting years of your life on a path that won't lead anywhere. But here's a hard truth nobody tells you. When you don't choose a path, life chooses for you. And guess what? The choice life makes is usually to keep you exactly where you are, grinding to pay the bills, living paycheck to paycheck, dreaming about that annual vacation if you're lucky. That's what the system wants, for you to accept a mediocre life, while the wealthy continue enjoying the freedom that money provides. So tell me something. Are you steering your boat or just floating around? Now, there's a moment in the life of every successful person I know, and look, I know a lot of people who got rich when they simply decide enough is enough. It's a conscious decision. It's usually not something gradual. It's like waking up one day and saying, "That's it, it's over. I'm going to change my situation." And this decision comes accompanied by something many people find strange: obsession. Yes, actual obsession. Because think with me. If you want to become a professional athlete, you can't train half an hour a day and still play guitar, learn French, and run marathons, all at the same time, right? You need to focus. You need to become obsessed. And with money, it's exactly the same thing. But society created this weird narrative that wanting to get rich is greed. It's being materialistic, it's whatever. And look, there's a part of that that's true, yes. If you want money just to buy imported cars, designer watches, and post photos on Instagram showing off, then you're chasing the wrong thing. That kind of wealth is empty, it's superficial, and deep down you'll continue feeling incomplete. But here's the other side of the coin that nobody talks about. There's a much bigger greed happening, and it's not yours. It's the entire system trying to convince you to accept crumbs while others eat the whole banquet. Because money, when you understand its true purpose, isn't about status or ego. It's about freedom. It's about impact. It's about having the capacity to help the people you love without depending on anyone. Freedom to wake up when you want, work from wherever you want, be present in the important moments of your family's life, invest in causes you believe in, create opportunities for other people. When you build wealth with purpose, you're not just enriching yourself, you're building a legacy, you're creating security for the future, you're gaining time, which is the most valuable resource that exists. So don't be ashamed of wanting this. Just have clarity about why you want it. Don't apologize for being ambitious, but know that ambition without purpose is just disguised vanity. The truth is you need to make a radical choice here. Either you accept being normal, doing what everyone does, having what everyone has, or you decide to do the opposite. And look, this isn't easy. There will be people judging you, calling you crazy, saying you're wasting time. Your friends will think you're weird because you stopped going out every weekend to focus on your business. Your family will question your choices, maybe compare you to that cousin or sibling who's already earning well, to that friend who got a promotion, to so-and-so who passed a civil service exam. But you know what? If you do what everyone does, you'll have what everyone has. And most people, they're broke. They're unhappy. They're trapped. So why on earth would you want to copy that? I always say, whoever tries to please everyone ends up in most cases being nothing special to anyone. Don't be afraid to be different. Don't be afraid to reject the normal path. Actually, when you look at history, the people who really changed the game were always the ones who had the courage to go against the grain while everyone followed the flow. And here's the kicker. This obsession, this intense focus on getting rich isn't forever. It's a phase. It's the price you pay in your 20-something years to have freedom for the next 60. And believe me, it's worth every second. Stage 2. Discovering and mastering valuable skills. Now that you've already made the decision to get rich and you're obsessed with it, comes the question that paralyzes most people. Okay, but how do I actually make money? And this is where people overcomplicate things. They think they need to reinvent the wheel, create some revolutionary idea that nobody's ever thought of before, or discover the next miracle cryptocurrency before everyone else. But look, let me tell you a secret. You don't need to be an innovative genius to get rich. In reality, most wealthy people I know didn't invent anything new. They simply looked at what was already working for other people and asked, how can I do that too? It's like a giant shortcut that's right there in front of you, but most people ignore because their ego won't let them copy anyone. They want to be original, they want to be unique. But you know what I learned? Originality comes later. First, you need to master the basics. And the fastest way to do that is to find someone who's already gotten where you want to go and discover exactly the path that person took. Think about it this way. If you wanted to cross a dense and dangerous forest, would you try to open your own path in the dark, or would you follow the trail someone already mapped out? Here's the thing. You make money in proportion to the value you deliver to the world. Simple as that. Now, let's be honest here. If you're broke right now, it could be for various reasons. There are people who really lost the birth lottery, were born into families without resources, without connections, without access to quality education, and are starting miles behind the starting line. That's real, and pretending everyone starts from the same place is an illusion. But there are also many people who were born with reasonable opportunities in hand and simply didn't take advantage. They let time pass, stayed in the comfort zone, didn't develop any valuable skills. And look, it doesn't matter which of these groups you fit into. Because the hard truth is this. Complaining about your situation doesn't change anything. Could you have been born at a disadvantage? Yes. Could life have been unfair to you? Yes. But dwelling on that only keeps you in the same place. What changes your reality is action. It's you waking up and deciding that, regardless of where you started, you're going to develop skills that make you worth more each day. Because valuable skill is the only thing that levels the playing field. It doesn't matter if you came from the top or the bottom. If you know how to do something people need and are willing to pay for, you're going to make money. But the good news? Skill is something that can be learned. You can become even more valuable. You can develop capabilities that make people want to pay you well. The secret is choosing one that's already provably generating money for other people and diving in head first. And here's a golden tip. Look for someone who's already making real money with that skill, but who isn't mega famous. You know why? Because when the person is too famous, You never know if the money comes from the skill itself or just from the giant personal brand they built. You want to learn from someone who's still on the battlefield, applying the skill day to day, not from someone who now only sells courses about how they got rich selling courses. Now, let's talk about the hardest part. How do you convince someone successful to teach you the way? Because look, it's not just showing up and saying, hey, teach me. Everyone who's already achieved some success receives dozens of messages like that every day, and most go straight to the trash. You need to be strategic. You need to offer value first. It could be working for free at the beginning just to learn. It could be asking such well-crafted questions that the person is impressed with your level of preparation. It could be inserting yourself into the right communities where these people already are. Discord, Instagram groups, in-person events, anywhere you can be close to those who already know what they're doing. And when you finally get that access, become a sponge. Absorb everything. Take notes. Pay attention not just to what the person says, but also to what they don't say, to the mistakes they made that you can avoid. Because in the end, you're taking years of condensed experience and shortening your learning curve absurdly. It's kind of like a real-life cheat code. While others will spend 5 years making mistakes and getting it right, you can compress that into 1 year just by following a path that's already been tested and approved. Stage 3, the lonely period and acceleration. All right, now you've already discovered the proven path you're going to follow, already identified the skill you're going to master, and it's time to get your hands dirty. And this is where, my friend, most people quit. Because this phase is brutal. It's lonely. It's frustrating. It's that part of the journey where you're still not making real money, but you also can't connect with your childhood friends anymore because you simply don't have anything in common. They're worried about the next weekend hangout, about which series is trending on Netflix, about social media gossip. And you? You're obsessed with learning, with improving, with building something. It's not that you're better than them. That's not it. It's just that you're on completely different frequencies now. And that hurts, you know? It hurts to realize that those friendships that seemed eternal start to dissolve because you chose a different path. But at the same time, you're also not rich enough yet to be part of the circle of people you admire, of the mentors you want to have around. You're stuck in this weird limbo, in this no man's land where you're alone with your thoughts, your doubts, and your work. And that loneliness, it crushes a lot of good people. It's at this stage that you need to understand something fundamental, because practicing isn't just about quantity of hours. The secret to real acceleration is receiving quality constructive feedback and constantly adjusting your route. And here lies a giant danger, because most people ask for feedback from the wrong people. They show their work to family, to close friends, to people who love them and want to protect their feelings. And then what happens? Everyone says it's beautiful, it's incredible, that you're a genius. But deep down, these people don't even know how to evaluate whether what you're doing is good or bad because they themselves have never done it. It's like asking someone who's never played soccer to evaluate if you're kicking the ball right. It doesn't make sense. You need feedback from someone who really understands the subject, from someone who's already been where you're going, from someone who can point out exactly what's holding you back. And yes, this type of feedback usually hurts because it's honest, it's direct, and it's unfiltered. But it's exactly what you need to truly evolve. If you keep doing things the same way, you'll keep getting the same results. Period. Now, how do you survive this phase without going crazy or giving up? Because look, I'm not going to lie to you, many people can't handle it. Many people run back to the traditional path, to the secure job, to old friends, to the comfort zone. And I don't judge really, because moving forward when you're alone requires absurd mental strength. But you know what helps? Finding other people who are in the same boat as you. Not people who already got rich and now only give advice from their pedestal. No, you need people who are in the trenches with you, who are battling, who are facing the same doubts, the same fears, the same difficulties. These people become your support network, your mutual motivation system, your daily reminder that you're not crazy for choosing this path. Look for communities, groups, forums, any space where you can exchange ideas with those who understand your struggle. Because the truth is this, you can even walk the path alone, but having company makes everything more bearable. And when you finally start seeing the first results, when money starts coming in, when you realize that skill you've been developing actually works, then you'll understand it was worth going through this whole difficult period. Stage 4, financial freedom and reinvestment. And then finally comes the moment you waited for so long. You start making money, making real money. And man, what an incredible feeling that is. Suddenly, you don't need to ask anyone for anything anymore. You don't need to put up with annoying bosses talking to you like you're inferior. You've conquered financial freedom. You can buy whatever you want, work from wherever you want, wake up whenever you want. It's literally the dream becoming reality. But it's exactly here, in this moment of glory, that a fork in the road happens. And the choice you make now will determine whether you're going to be just another young rich person who goes broke in a few years, or if you're going to build real wealth, the kind that lasts a lifetime and still helps other people along the way. Because there's a giant difference between being rich and being wealthy. Rich is having money coming in now. Wealthy is having a system that guarantees money will never stop coming in, regardless of what happens. And the temptation, my friend, the temptation at this stage is enormous. Suddenly you can buy that car you always dreamed of, those clothes. You can travel to incredible places. You can show off on social media and show everyone who doubted you that you made it. And look, I completely understand that desire. But here's the real deal. Truly wealthy people will never be impressed with you blowing all your money on superficial things. Actually, they'll look at you with pity because they know you could be using that money to grow even more and make more things happen. The secret that separates those who get rich from those who get wealthy is simple: reinvestment. When you start earning well, you need to resist the temptation to spend it all and, instead, reinvest a considerable portion of that money. And reinvesting can mean several different things. It could be investing in financial assets like stocks, real estate funds, and well-researched cryptocurrencies. It could be investing in education, in courses, in mentorships that will teach you new valuable skills. It could be investing in creating new income sources, building parallel businesses that work for you while you sleep. Because think with me, if you have only one income source, no matter how good it is, you're always one problem away from losing everything. But if you have multiple sources, if you've diversified, then you've built something resilient, something that withstands life's storms. And here's an interesting fact. Most wealthy people I know have at least 3 or 4 different income sources. They don't depend on just one thing. They've built a portfolio of opportunities that complement and protect each other. But there's one investment that surpasses all others, that has the highest possible return, that will never disappoint you. The investment of investing in yourself. It's funny, there are people who don't think twice before spending $1,000 on a new phone that will be outdated in 2 years, but think it's absurd to invest $200 in a course that can teach a skill that will generate money for the rest of their life. This mentality needs to change. Because every dollar you spend today on something that doesn't add anything is a dollar you're stealing from your future self. It's a dollar that could be being invested, growing, multiplying. Wealthy people constantly reinvest in themselves. They read books, watch educational videos, participate in communities, take courses, hire mentors. They never stop learning. Even after conquering financial freedom, they continue dedicating a few hours a day to personal growth. Because they understand the world doesn't stop changing, that new opportunities emerge every day, and that those who stop learning fall behind. And look, investing in yourself isn't just about technical skills or money. It's about building a truly balanced life. Remember that lonely phase we talked about before? That's temporary, just a necessary period for you to find your direction. But after you find yourself, you need to invest in nurturing good relationships, in having people around you who inspire and support you. You don't need to and shouldn't stay lonely for the rest of your life. Also invest in your health, because what's the point of having money if your body is broken? Take care of your diet, not just because it looks good on social media, but because quality food gives you energy, mental clarity, and vitality. Invest in regular physical exercise, even if it's just half an hour a day, because investing in body and mind is what will generate the greatest dividends in the future. So even when you reach this stage of freedom, don't completely relax. Stay curious. Keep investing in yourself in a comprehensive way: mind, body, relationships, skills. Keep building. Because the difference between being temporarily rich and being wealthy forever is precisely this: your ability to keep evolving, to keep creating value, to keep reinvesting instead of just consuming. And believe me, when you look back a few years from now and see the empire you built because of these choices, you'll be grateful for having had discipline when you were young. Final considerations. So, after everything we've talked about here, the question that remains is, What now? Because look, you can watch this entire video, agree with everything I said, find it super inspiring, and then simply close the tab and go back to the same old routine. Or you can do differently. You can take these 4 stages and actually apply them in your life, starting today. So answer me something. What decision did you make today that brought you closer to the life you want? What valuable skill did you start developing this week? What constructive feedback did you seek from someone who really understands the subject? If the answer is none, then you're still drifting, my friend. You're still letting life happen to you instead of taking the reins. And look, I'm not judging you, because I know taking the first step is the hardest part. But you need to understand something. 5 years from now, you'll be 5 years older anyway. The only difference is whether those 5 years will take you to a completely new place or keep you exactly where you are now. So what's it going to be? Will you keep reproducing the same patterns that keep most people trapped? Or will you have the courage to be different, to invest in yourself, to maybe go through that lonely phase, to build skills even when nobody believes? Because the truth is your life can change completely in the coming years, but only if you stop waiting for permission and start acting. If you made it this far, think about the possibility of doing the following: subscribing to the channel to continue learning about these and other topics. And look, explore the other videos on the channel too, because there's a lot of material here that will further expand your capacity for reflection. Each video is a piece of the puzzle, and the more you absorb, I hope the clearer the path becomes. So don't stop here. Keep studying, keep growing, and keep investing in yourself. Because in the end, you are the best investment you'll ever make in your life. And, for sure, you'll also illuminate many people's lives.